Hello everyone, I hope you and your family doing good. My name is Santosh and welcome to my channel Learn It. So I am here today to discuss about the topic HTTP. So we are going to discuss about what is HTTP, how it works, what is the flow for the HTTP for the client and server model, what is the request and response codes for the HTTP, and HTTP status codes also we can see. So before we jump into it, let us go through the basic definition of HTTP. HTTP is a protocol which allows or which fetches or pulls the resources such as an HTML file or PDF, video, images, or it could be anything. It is the foundation of any data exchange or any data information exchange on the World Wide Web, or we can say it on internet. It is a client server protocol, which means requests are initiated by the recipient. In our case it is a client, usually the web browser, but it could also be any device or application. So the web server was invented by Tim Berners-Lee in the early 1990s. So there were three primary versions were deployed during the 1990s. They were HTTP 0.9, which supports basic hypertext documents, HTTP 1.0, which is the extension to support the rich websites, and HTTP 1.1, which is developed to address performance limitation of HTTP 1.0. Okay, so now let us understand what is the primary function of HTTP. So the primary function of HTTP is to establish a connection with the server and send an HTML pages back to the user browser. So here we are just mentioning HTML page, but it could be any PDF, video, images, it could be anything. Okay, so HTTP is also used to download the data or upload the data to the server. So in either way it works with the browser. So the main purpose that is the main purpose of the HTTP. Now let us understand what is request and response, how the request and response flows for the HTTP protocol. So if you see this PPT, we have 5 steps. Whenever a client requests something, a first thing in our case client means browser. Whenever browser sends an HTTP request to the web, a connection is established, and that request goes to the web server. So in our case it could be any web server. It could be Microsoft IIS, it could be Oracle HTTP server, it could be IBM HTTP server, or Apache or JBoss, it could be anything. So the second step, the web server receives the request, and the third step is the server runs that particular application to process the request. So once the process is complete, in the fourth step the server returns or send back that HTTP response or output to the client or browser. So the last step is the client or browser receives the response. So these are the 5 steps for the request and response. In this flow, any HTTP request and response flow works. Now let us go back to the different methods available in the HTTP. So we have 4 methods basically used for this HTTP. One is get, the second is post, third is put, and fourth is delete. So when we use get, so it is like, and whenever you request something in the request URL, get will have then initial page. For example, in our case I am mentioning index.html. If you take, when you hit the www.google.com, so the URI of that request will contain get home.html. It means that will be the home page of the Google. So the post, it will have post usually contains it contains a create a new request or new resource, and you just send the data to the server. Put, it will update the information or delete method is used to delete the information or a resource when the request and response is sent back to the server. The same thing we have explained here with the help of pictures, so we will understand how this works. So on the left side, if you see, we have a client, that is our laptop or desktop, or it could be mobile device, or it could be any application. So whenever a client requests something, it establishes a connection with the server using the HTTP protocol. So the server receives that request, process it, and sends it back to the client. So in our case, we are asking server what is the weather report for today's date. So the server process that request and send it back to the client. So this is how it works. Now let us understand a few HTTP codes whatever we have. So we have few HTTP codes. The 200, it means okay, 200 means success. The client requested something, server receives that request, responds it back with the output or the output. Then if you see the error code for that, it will be 200, it means it is successful. So 300, it means if you are requesting something or the requested resource permanently moved to the some other path or some other location, then we get this error. So straight away the requested resource is not available in particular path, the HTTP server or the web server directly throws the 300 error. 401, it means unauthorized. We are not allowed or allowed to access something in the sense any resource which are not allowed, and we try to access it, then we'll get the 401 error. 403 means forbidden error, where we know the client but we are not authorized. We could authenticate it, but we are not authorized to access particular resource. 404 means the requested resource not found or doesn't exist in the particular path or directory. 500 means it's a server side issue. Server either it is crashed or it is down, then the straight away we'll get the 500 error. So now let us understand one more picture here. So it says how the request and response is followed. So on the left side, if you see, we have a web document where it has a image server, video server, ad server. Whenever you request something, the request is received by the web server, and web server has a configuration file called plugin file, which is smart enough to understand and read each and every request of which receives, and based on the request type, what it does is it redirects the request to the particular server. For example, if you are receiving any we got a request for image purpose, then what it does is it redirects the request to image. If we next get video request, then what it does is it reads and it understands that the request should go to video. So in this way the HTTP works. So in a nutshell, HTTP is a protocol or a language used over the internet to understand for the machines and the humans. This helps us to communicate between the application on the internet or World Wide Web. It follows client-server architecture where the client sends a request and the server sends a response. The communication happens using the HTTP methods as we discussed. Those are get, post, put, delete. The response contains the status codes to give the information about the request and response and the content. So I hope this basic information will help you to understand what is HTTP, how it works, what are the different protocols used. If you like it, please subscribe to my channel and comment it out and like the video and share the video. If you do not like it, also let me know where I am lagging, where the proper information is not updated or not covered. So I would definitely come back with a new video. So till then, take care. Thank you for watching. See you on my next video.